What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about Xbox because it sounds like they have another massive, expensive L on their hands. So this week, Hellblade II: Senua Saga finally released, and the reviews were kind of negative and kind of positive. Personally, I gave it a 4 out of 10, and I literally fell asleep playing it, but it seems like from the early metrics, the game completely flopped. We're talking selling 1% the numbers of Starfield, and in a lot of measurements, Starfield really wasn't that successful either. But let's take a look at the numbers because this is bad for Microsoft. Hi, I hope you're having a great day. If you could, give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So, we're taking a look at a bunch of early concurrent numbers from Steam database. This is essentially telling how many people decided to buy money, how many people actually decided to spend cash to buy Hellblade 2 and not just download it from Game Pass. Now, it has less players on its opening weekend than Redfall or Hi-Fi RUSH. Now, truly consider that Redfall was a broken dumpster fire that everybody hated, and Hi-Fi RUSH was a shadow drop. They literally did zero marketing, and it is immediately outselling and outplaying Hellblade 2, which is a much bigger, more expensive project that they have been hyping for literally years. Now, this is the article that it's referencing, and the numbers of it are kind of baffling because if you consider it, this is something that people expected to at least do all right. The original Hellblade game came out with an 81 on Metacritic. It became kind of a cult classic. And so when they bought that 7 years ago, the studio got acquired by Microsoft, everybody kind of went, okay, how big is Hellblade 2 going to be now that you have the $1 trillion budget of Microsoft's? And yet it still came out. It has the exact same rating. It also came out with an 81. But the actual conversation, the hype, the positivity around this seems to be measurably minor. Now, some people are going to go, this isn't fair. Maybe the numbers will go up. Okay, here is why I feel like these numbers are extremely worrying and why I pretty much think that at this point, this is proof about the fact that the Game Pass model doesn't work. And additionally, I think it is a sign that just in general, Microsoft is ending up in very hot water to be spending huge chunks of money on so many unsuccessful projects in a row. Like, look at this. In the last 14 months, so from the beginning of last year to current day, they released 3 major expensive projects: Hi-Fi RUSH, Redfall, and Hellblade 2. Now, these games all also came to Steam. So while people could play it, these games, we can tell, definitely bombed because the studios got shut down. I'm upset about that. You're upset about that. I've done a bunch of videos. But if these numbers are not enough, if this amount of sales, feedback, player engagement, if this is not enough, then this is extremely bad. God, this completely blows my mind. This is Starfield when it came out on Steam. The highest peak it had was 330,000 players. The peak for Senua Saga was about 4K. Oh my god, that is a 99% drop in players. 99% lower than their last big game. These are all just massive failures. But the fact that Hellblade is literally half of Hi-Fi RUSH, half of Redfall, is absolutely insane to me. Now, additionally, I think it's that Microsoft is finding themselves in this weird spot where they bought a bunch of studios and then just expected that to be a huge spike in Game Pass numbers. Clearly, this was an expensive gamble they made years ago. Clearly, the concept was like, okay, if we come out with 4 or 5 games a year, some of them good, some of them bad, people will keep subscribing to Game Pass. We'll get tens of millions of people paying into the service, which will retroactively fund these projects. But clearly, that's not paying off. Now, Microsoft is probably going to release some statement here in the next couple days that, oh, we're so happy with the success of Hellblade. Do not believe their lies. They said that about Redfall. Phil Spencer directly said he wasn't going to shut down Arcane. He straight up said, we're not shutting down Arcane. We're going to find a way to fix Redfall and keep them working. that was a lie. That was a direct, bold-faced lie. Then they said the same thing. Hi-Fi Rush was a success by all our metrics. That was also a complete lie. I am annoyed because right now a lot of people are trying to believe the propaganda. Xbox is saying, oh, we're not going to shut down Ninja Theory. We have another project already in the works. Don't believe it. Like there was a major leak last week that I didn't even report on that apparently, oh, they just greenlit Hellblade 3. So Ninja Theory is definitely safe. Look, here's my thing. Xbox will say whatever. Xbox will leak stuff. Xbox will get positive spin out there. But at this point, until the games exist, I think every studio is on the verge of being shutting down. And to me, that sucks. So many of these developers are going to be on pins and needles, constantly looking for better jobs. If you are a talented developer, why would you ever stay at Microsoft working in conditions where at any point, if some guy up at the top of freaking Microsoft chooses to cut your job, it just gets cut? Now, a couple days ago, I did report on those very loosey-goosey rumors that Microsoft wants to buy Valve. Now, there was some leaked reporting that they were trying to do it years ago and they were unsuccessful, but a lot of people are basically saying, look, in general, Xbox is trying to just buy their way to success, and they've been doing this for 10 years. Acquire, acquire, acquire. Which was them essentially trying to say, okay, if we own a huge chunk of the entire gaming market, eventually we have to be profitable, right? I don't think that's the case. The biggest issue is that, honestly, Game Pass is trying to fit into such a scattershot approach. Like, look at this. These are all the games that got added to Xbox Game Pass this month. Now, some of these are great. You can see, like, here's the most popular games on Xbox PC. Freaking Minecraft, that makes sense. Diablo 4, that's great. By the way, Diablo 4's new season, I didn't make a video of it, but I've been playing the new season a lot. Sea of Thieves. But look at this. Here are the games they just added. Indie game, little kid game, indie game I've never heard of, indie game I've never heard of, indie game I've never heard of, Hellblade, and then a game that undoubtedly everybody says is absolute dog trash. So, my point there is that we're in a spot where anything that Microsoft tries to do, it needs to try and change its functionality. Microsoft is trying to treat Xbox Game Pass as this infinite money printer, and that's just not the way that these things operate. They need to start to think about this more like Netflix. Netflix creates tons and tons and tons of stuff for very expensive prices, very cheap prices. But the point is that they're scattershotting their approach. It's huge budget thing, little kid thing, different documentary. And this is what ends up paying it back, is that Microsoft is trying to make back-to-back Sony-sized projects, huge $100 million, $200 million games, hoping it pays off eventually with enough subscribers, and it doesn't work. Do you know how these companies measure success of subscription models? They count it by the number of new subscribers. So it's not just enough that the game sells, it needs to bump up the concurrent numbers. You know, the Fallout TV show, that was incredibly good. Amazon considers that a success because people subscribed to the service to watch that show. How many people are actually subscribing to Xbox Game Pass? The raw numbers, by their own financial reports, are very low. It's in a spot now where, honestly, the fact that they're still trying to dump more and more money in this, expecting the chart to go up, and it just goes down and down, I think there's soon not going to be any Xbox exclusives. And I'll be honest, I think there's about to be pretty much no Xbox studios. There's just going to be Microsoft publishing. But these are just some off-the-cuff thoughts. I did not like Hellblade 2, but even in my review, I very explicitly stated that I like when weird games exist. This is a very niche art house bizarro game with a absolute horrifically awful ending, but at the same time, I kind of like the fact that we are in a part of the industry where you get big games and bad games and weird games and silly puzzle stuff and racing games. So even though I personally did not like this game at all, I do hope that Ninja Theory survives. I hope this game utterly bombing doesn't sink them, because they deserve another shot to do whatever weirdness they're doing, even if it isn't my particular tastes. I just wish it was slightly more successful because, man, clearly nobody is buying Game Pass. Now, I want to end off because I looked at this thread over on Reddit, and it's funny that a lot of people are like, look, man, nobody's going to buy Xbox games. Like, this game is maybe 7 hours. Why would you spend $50 for it? There is no physical edition. This is digital only, and it just seems so nothing. Everybody's like, look, man, Game Pass is so cheap. You keep doing those things where they keep offering you a $1 for a month of it. It says, I've played Halo Infinite for $1, and now I've paid this game for $1. That means I've spent $2 to beat their top 2 games in the last 4 years. Yeah. No bueno. But what do you guys think about this? Are you excited for the future of Xbox, or are you as understandably concerned as I am? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. It's my casual Saturday outfit, excuse me. Use my, look at my little muscles. Oh, God! Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.